Welcome back everyone to Mudstomp Solves, a channel where we do cardboard puzzles and a number of other things where we combine pieces into different shapes with and without instructions such as block builds, 3D puzzles and so on and so forth, and every now and then pen and paper puzzles. Today we're doing our 300 subscriber special. I've been waiting a long time to do this, but it is really exciting to say at the time of this recording we're up to about 309 subscribers, so it's going well at the moment. And so I hope you'll enjoy today's video. It's going to be more audio over the top as I show you a range of 300 piece puzzles that I've done to celebrate this current situation. So jumping right into it, you can see I've got a puzzle here labeled Cas and Jonesy in Antarctica. This is most of these puzzles I got from the op shop, as per many of my puzzles. This one in particular is one of those sort of cheap ones you get from like a souvenir store or something like that, I'm guessing. But yeah, it came in a small box, looked like it would be interesting. I gotta honestly say it's one of the worst puzzles in the pile for this video. As you'll see at the moment, I'm getting to doing the edge pieces and stuff. The middle wasn't too bad, lots of nice lines and things like that. Picture was alright for the most part, but the pieces are thin, quite large, quite bendy, and there's no real definition to the pieces, and in particular getting double ups and things matching the same spots with the color gradients happened quite a bit towards the end here. So yeah, over and all, it wasn't the most exciting puzzle to do, unfortunately, but it was the first of many, so you know, it is what it is. It was a puzzle. Coming up next, we have a T-Rex puzzle. My youngest son, is excited about this one. I'm going to actually glue this and hang it for him. I was really excited to have a go at this because I thought, oh, it might be interesting, you know, particularly with the Jurassic Park sort of stuff. Obviously started with the icon. That was really nice. The pieces are quite thin, but they connected quite well, so that was all right for the most part. So again, this was sort of one of your cheaper puzzles, but largely speaking, it wasn't too bad off, I don't think. I think if I was to buy this as a collector piece for Jurassic Park or whatever, I would have been happy enough with it. Overall, the orangey yellow section was really quick and easy to do. The lettering wasn't too bad, so that was sort of my next bet, to pick that out of the pile basically. And then after that, I sort of just started working on bits and pieces, as you can see, getting through it. I'd done a few of the other puzzles before this one, so this was sort of one where I was trying to not do too much sorting and just get into it. I'll also say that, largely speaking, I've got most of these in sort of order of preference. In other words, how much I enjoyed them and so forth. So this was all right. There's some Ravensburgers coming up that, you know, they were a bit better to do than this, but overall this was fun. The hardest part was getting the skin of the T-Rex done. As you can see, it's the last pile, and I really sort of not a lot of definition or anything to match that with. It really came down to color gradients where I could sort of pick pieces and figure it out. But yeah, overall it was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to hanging it for my son, like I said. So yeah, really lovely little puzzle to continue the trend with. Moving on, I'm going to show you two Ravensburgers. So there's 4 Ravensburgers in total that I did, and they're all of slightly different aging, I think. I believe these 2 are the oldest out of the 4. And yeah, so we've got one that's based on dinosaurs basically, and one that's an airport scene. The airport scene one is kind of your stereotypical, I think, that you see these days, where Ravensburger is just pumping out 300 piece puzzles where it's sort of just a scenery and it's sort of a comic one. Whereas obviously the dinosaur one is a little bit more, you know, a drawn picture, which I actually appreciate a lot more. The comic ones, then, easy to spot where pieces go, but largely they're not that interesting to do, I find. I will say on the whole of it, all of the Ravensburger puzzles were the typical Ravensburger quality and all that. You know, the pieces locked nicely enough. Each one took me about 40-50 minutes to do, so, you know, they were pretty straightforward and all that. And for the most part, the pictures are clean and easy to do. I think my favourite part, probably out of the 4 of them, this dinosaur one on the left has probably been my favourite out of the 4 of them, to be honest. The night one I'd had for quite a while and was looking forward to doing it. On the whole of it, I've got to say that there was a lot of immense detail in sort of shadows and things like that. So even though the pieces were easy to sort of place, it was the kind of thing where it was a little bit more frustrating to do in a certain aspect. Whereas the dinosaur one, I feel like it was relatively straightforward to see what things were and roughly where they would go for the most part. I think the hardest part for the dinosaur puzzle was just certain pieces of things like the pterodactyls and stuff. It just sort of differentiating which one was which. But overall, yeah, it was just a fun puzzle to do. The clouds at the end took me a little bit more effort, but largely, yeah, not too bad of a puzzle. And going back to the nights again, the color differences across the 4 nights, I think it is, meant I could do the bulk of it without any issue. Seeing the flags in particular too, that was pretty straightforward. So yeah, again, your typical sort of Ravensburger puzzle, if you will. Moving on to the next 2 Ravensburgers. So we have a jungle scene on the right, and on the left, I believe it's the... Oh, actually, I mentioned plains, didn't I, before? So, sorry, that was the dinosaurs and the knights. This is the plains one on the left, the plains cartoonish one. Sorry, I'm sort of audioing this afterwards, and yeah, kind of got mixed up on the 2. But anyway, yeah, largely speaking, like I said before, the comic sort of picturing of these things, of the Ravensburgers, like this plains one, it makes it sort of easy to sort in colours, but other than that, it's all sort of really just piecemeal of one piece at a time. What I do find is the images are very busy. They're like this one in particular, there's a lot of balloons, there's a lot of planes, there's a lot of people, and you just kind of get to this point where you're sitting there trying to figure out, where is this person, where is this piece of balloon material and whatnot. I did build the top right balloon pretty early on, pretty easily, so that was nice. A couple of those sort of bigger structures were easy to piece out, but a lot of the rest of them were just very sort of, yeah, minor bits and that. I suppose for your, you know, your average puzzler that's just going to sit down and have a go for a day, and yeah, I finished a puzzle in a day or whatever. I'm sure that these would be lovely puzzles to do, but for the sake of trying to do it quicker, I guess you would say, it was, yeah, this just didn't meet me where I wanted it to be honest. On the other hand, the jungle one on the right, it kind of did. I really liked this. There's a lot of textures in the different creatures, and I felt like you could sort of tell which creature it was with or which flower and stuff quite quickly and readily. So that was a really nice thing to sort of just whack them out and, yeah, get them going basically. So yeah, that one on the right was a really nice one out of that pair. Continuing on, we have Wild Australia puzzles. Now, if you've not seen these before, they're usually smaller area boxes, if you will, but slightly deeper boxes than the Ravensburgers. But they build a puzzle that's basically the same size. So it seems to be, I don't know, some Australian company maybe that's sort of copied the way the Ravensburgers go or something. But they, largely speaking, I've done probably 4 or 5 of these over the last year or so, these 2 included. And overall, the quality is very much the same as Ravensburger. Probably a slight bit less, but not terribly so that you sort of, nothing to sort of notice or anything like that. I will say the imagery in these puzzles is really lovely as well. This is definitely akin to that jungle puzzle again. Just having nice vibrant colours and texture differentiations with everything. In particular to these 2 puzzles, they have a lot of different, obviously, Australian animals because it's just wild Australian puzzles. And they, on the backs of the boxes, they have a guide to tell you what each animal is and or which, you know, each creature and whatnot. So that's a really nice sort of little addition to the box, that there's a bit more information on the box than just, hey, here's a picture and let's do it. So yeah, overall I thought that was nice. Again, I enjoyed the puzzle for the most part, but you know, nothing particularly, you know, crazy interesting for me. Just another puzzle to do, or 2 in this case. And largely speaking, yeah, overall I enjoyed the process, enjoyed the puzzles. Yeah, and happy to add them. So if I'm not miscounting yet, I think we're up to, this would be about 8 puzzles in or so. So yeah, and as you can see, really nice textures and colours, so that was really lovely to do. Moving on, the next puzzle here, this was one of my more favourite puzzles out of the batch that I did. I was actually a little bit surprised by this one. I picked this one up as seen as a sort of an older puzzle, it seemed to me. And looking at it, it's a bit bigger. You know, this is on an average poster board size, so the Ravensburger 300s fit just shorter than the puzzle board and you know, width-wise, and a bit shorter, quite a bit shorter height-wise. Whereas this puzzle extends over the puzzle board a little bit. You can see on the right there. And it's a little bit narrower, but these pieces are big, and also they're irregular cut, which if you know me or my puzzling, I really enjoy the irregular cut puzzles. So I really actually had a lot of fun with this puzzle. I will say the bottom of the puzzle was quite, you know, sort of a bit more difficult than the rest of it. Slowed me down a little bit, but overall, yeah, it's just a really nice image. And again, the sort of artwork that I really appreciate of just having, you know, nice clean sort of imagery, but at the same time it's not like there's a particular pattern to it or anything, so you can see where everything goes largely just with one look and things like that. I think the bushes were the only parts that really sort of I had to go piece shape wise, but other than that, yeah, the whole thing was a really lovely puzzle, and I'm gonna actually hang on to this one in the future because I think I'll do this again at some point just for the fun of it. So yeah, that was a really, really nice puzzle, and thick pieces too, I might add, so really well connected. Following that, we have another Ceaco puzzle, and I say another one because if you've watched my last few videos, I've done a 1500 and a 2000 piece Disney Thomas Kinkade puzzles that were produced by Ceaco. I know that a lot of people aren't hugely into Ceaco. One of the reasons seems to be the irregular puzzle piece cut. But I've got to say, my recent experience, I'm actually quite happy with their puzzles. I love the random piece cut again, but I'm finding the images are really nice, and the pieces are good qualities to my mind. They fit nicely together, so it's sort of like, in that way, Ravensburger is known as the soft click technology. I find this is the soft fit. Like, it's a real nice, you push them in and they just fit nicely. And this particular puzzle, I'll show it later when I do a wrap up, but it's essentially almost like a board when it's finished. So it's really nice in that way, and reminds me of one of my earliest puzzles, the Muppets puzzle, which I think I'm going to do again on a video at some time soon just to show it off. But yeah, I really enjoyed this puzzle. I like the image, I like the colors, and yeah, the pieces were great. There were a few pieces that were sort of a bit, you know, losing bits on the tabs and that, but for the most part they've not been damaged or anything. And yeah, it was just a really lovely puzzle to finish off. And again, this will be another one that I think I'm going to hang on to and possibly do again in the future. So yeah, I'm sort of looking forward to keeping more irregular cut puzzles, and I think I'm going to look out more for the Ceaco ones. Moving on, if you didn't predict this coming, you have definitely not watched a lot of my videos so far. But the next 4 puzzles, so these 2 and the next 2, are Thomas Kinkade's. Yeah, I go on about these puzzles all the time. In my 100 subscriber special, I did 2 100-piece Thomas Kinkades out of a 10-pack box. These came from that same box. So there's 2 100, 4 300, and 4 500-piece puzzles in that box. I'm looking forward to getting the 500-piece ones done for the 500 subscriber special coming up. Hopefully within a couple of months. We'll see how we go. But yeah, these were probably some of, once as always, some of the nicest puzzles I've done, to be honest. They were a little bit more challenging than I was anticipating. Probably because of the fact there is a, you know, bigger chunks of sky and water and grass and things like that. But overall, honestly, just once as always, I cannot say enough about Thomas Kinkade puzzles. I love them. These hold together mostly well. There's a couple of loose fits in that. I think that's basically just age of the puzzle. The box looks very old, so I think this is, you know, it's been a loved set of puzzles in the past by someone. I picked the entire box of 10 up for $1 at the op shop, so I was really excited to have these and finally get around to doing some more of them. The images are just beautiful painted images as always. The irregular cut, once again, suits me to a T. So yeah, I could wax lyrical for hours on these, to be honest. These 2 particular puzzles, the left one I think was the first one I did out of the 4. It was really nice. The water and the plants at the bottom were quite straightforward. Obviously I did the houses very early on. The sky at the end was a little bit rough, challenging wise, but overall I managed to find a stride with it and got into it, so I really enjoyed that. The one on the right, that was a sort of a slow start for me. I think I just struggled to figure out where I wanted to go, what I wanted to try, but I started getting the driveway done because as I got the borders done, I realized that it had a bit of gradient or color there that I could sort of work with. So I ended up getting a lot of that done, and then the greenery, and then finally started piecing the house together, and then finally finished off with the sky area and the trees and stuff. So yeah, once again, like just a really lovely puzzle to do, both of them. And as you can see, like I'm doing these at all sorts of different times in the day. So some of these I've got natural light on, some of them I don't, unfortunately. The ones that I don't have natural light, there is a bit of glare sometimes, but I'm hoping to show them all off in a second as well when I do the ending of this video. But yeah, overall, like I just love these puzzles. Moving on to the second two. So these are our last two puzzles for the video. I think that puts us at about 14 puzzles in total. I don't know why. I think I did these two like as the first two that I filmed out of all of these 14, and I showed the sorting, or I filmed the sorting, and so I thought I'd show that off a little bit. But then I think I decided to skip the sorting for the rest of them because it was just getting... It adds a good chunk of time onto the video for not much purpose really, so I'd rather show off the actual build itself. You'll see too, I do the edge pieces always first with the Thomas Kinkades. The bigger ones, it's sort of, I do them, but I don't necessarily combine them with anything straight away. But with these littler ones, it's definitely worth it. It gives you a lot to work with just to position everything, even if you don't connect to it straight away with all the bits and pieces. And I really love sorting these into their little areas and then shape-wise after that if I'm still struggling and stuff. So it's a really nice sort of progress in that way for me. Just thinking about these ones. So the one on the right, I think that might possibly be my favorite out of all of these four. It had a lot of chunks that were easy to do, like the windows and the door. The roof came together nicely. The greenery was probably some of the hardest bit, just figuring out which plant was where, because there's a couple that are very similar, as you can probably see with the image up the top there. But yeah, overall it was a lovely puzzle just to get going, and then sort of sit there and just piecemeal through the rest of it and just enjoy the process, to be honest. The one on the left was a lot more frustrating. It's the color gradient in the bottom with the water was something that was helpful. But other than that, a lot of it is really just sort of, I don't know, it's sort of a lighter picture, I think, compared to a lot of the others. There's just a lot of sort of color mixing going into it and things like that. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it took me a bit more to sort of get my head around it, and had to use a bit more shape wise to really find pieces and things like that. But you know, in the end I got there, and again, I enjoyed them all, so I'm not going to complain about it. It's what it is. So anyway, I'm going to finish this up with the audio, and we're going to do a bit of a wrap up on these once these two have finished off. So hope you're enjoying it so far, and I'm going to show you a little bit more about what I've been getting up to.
Alright, well there you have it folks, that's the 300 piece subscriber special finished finally. I've got all the boxes here of all the puzzles I've done. So this is the Thomas Kinkade multi-box that's got the 10 different puzzles. Like I said, these two 100 piece ones were done back in the 100 subscriber special, so if you go back a little bit you can check them out in that video where I did, I think, something like 900 piece puzzles, maybe 11, something like that. And I've got 4 more 500 pieces waiting for me for the next one. In addition to that, as I said, I've got these ones, so that's one that I'm definitely happy to get rid of after this, because I didn't enjoy that anywhere near as much as I hoped. These are the two that, as you can see, they're different size boxes and stuff, but it's sort of, for stacking them with other things, it's a bit annoying, but for what they were really lovely puzzles and so forth. Excuse the noise there, just trying to sort that out. That one's cool because we're going to hang that, so that's easy done. Like I said, the wild boxes, wild Australians, they come in these small ones. It's through Blue Opal, which I'm realising is quite a similar piece cut to the Ravensburgers, which we've got them all there. Yeah, to be honest, I don't mind these. These are like I said, I think I've done about 4 of them or 5 in total, but it is a nice set. The Ravensburgers, they're going to go. I've had my fun with them. I'm not too eager to do many more of them. But I thought I'd just show off, just to finish off these last couple of puzzles that I am keeping and show them finished in a bit more of a light. These are the 100-piece ones from Thomas Kinkade. They're a bit nice in the sense of that you can pick them up and so forth. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with all of them, but I do have another mixer box. So once I do both boxes, I'll probably figure it out. But yeah, these are just for size comparison. These are the 300-piece Thomas Kinkade ones. So they're not super big. The pieces are quite small, and they're not necessarily as sturdy as the hundreds, but I can pick them up for the most part. That's about as far as I go with them though. A couple of them, like I said, quite loose in the pieces. So yeah, please excuse the flickering light. A bit of what not to deal with. And again, just to show these off. So this is the farm one. Really nice one. Can pick it up a little bit actually, so that's not too bad. Pretty neat little puzzle. And again, I think I'll keep this one. It's sort of, puzzle pieces are nice and thick. I think it's the kind of thing, it's a good one to do with the kids, that kind of stuff. So that's a lovely one. This is the chef one I wanted to show off. So yeah, very nicely connected, very easy to pick up and all the rest of it. So that I will be keeping. I'm a bit annoyed that the tabs stick out a bit, but it is what it is. Like I said, for a Ceaco, that's easy enough. And that's the T-Rex one upside down. Let's get that the right way around. Ready to glue. So I'm going to glue that tonight and have that ready to go for my son. So yeah, as per usual, thank you very much if you're still with me for watching and supporting the channel. I'm very surprised to be already up to 300 subscribers and very eager to hopefully get to 500 in the next couple of months. Could take another 6 months at the rate I'm going, but I am roughly getting around 20 or 30 subscribers a month, so it's kind of exciting. Maybe it'll increase as I go along, I don't know, but either way, yeah, it's lots of fun and I'm really appreciating the support. And if you want to continue to support, you know the things to do, the likes, the comments, the subscribes, etc. And otherwise, look forward to the next couple of weeks. I've got, do I have it in here? I'm going to do another set of crystal puzzles soon, just to do a couple more. I picked those up from Kmart again, so that was fun. A brand new set that I saw the other week. And I've got a book nook coming for the next video, I think. And I've got the giant Lego wave, if you've ever seen that, that's coming up. So that'll be soon. And I think the next actual cardboard puzzle I'm going to do is probably a 2,000 or 3,000 piece Ravensburger, because I've got a couple of them lying around. So I'm going to get into them soon too. I'm really eager to try them. I've had them for a while. And yeah, I think I've been a little bit scared to have a go at them because of how big they are. But having done the 2000 Thomas Kinkade, I think I'm ready to have a go at them. So yeah, assuming I get all that done in the next few weeks or so, I might be working on a larger project, a much larger project sooner or later, I think. So keep an eye out for that one. But anyway, once as always, thank you again for watching, and look forward to catching you in the next one. That's about. Bye.